all day leading up to the Ravens and Steelers playoff game, round 3 this year for those two. I was nervous like crazy. I was anxious. My stomach was going crazy the whole entire day just thinking about the playoff game, because it's like, man, like, although I did say the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl, this being a playoff game, I was still very, very nervous. I was scared. I was tense. I was just going crazy, tripping out over this wild card game between these two teams and them playing each other for the third time this year. But we're glad that the Baltimore Ravens, throughout this game, they were able to ease our anxieties, because I know I wasn't the only one, and they came out of here with the win while squashing a couple of narratives, while actually doing what worked too consistently throughout the majority of the game. Baltimore Ravens, thank you for not only winning this game, but winning it the way that you did. Team, keep it clean. I'm here to share my post-game thoughts from the game that we all watched and loved, the playoff game that we all watched and loved. It's a beautiful thing, because the Ravens, they live to see another week. But I'm here to share my post-game thoughts on the game between the Ravens and the Steelers. Before we get into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on, and leave a like on the video. So let's start off with the Baltimore Ravens offense. Man, Lamar Jackson, what I noticed in this game from him from jump, literally from the very first drive, there was no hesitation whatsoever. If Lamar snapped the ball, he was like, if he was going to take off, he took off. He wasn't waiting. He wasn't like, oh, you know what, I think about it. You know what, should I take? I think I would. Man. No, it wasn't none of that. He was decisive right away, and that made such a big difference. And Lamar, with him running the football, the way that he was doing his thing on the ground, literally throughout the whole night, that also made it easier for Derrick Henry, especially on that Derrick Henry on a long touchdown run. The one where Lamar, he put it in his chest, and Lamar put it in Derrick Henry's chest, and Derrick Henry had it. Lamar still had it. Derrick Henry had it. Lamar still had it. And then Lamar finally let go. But Lamar, he faked like he kept the ball, and he did a little move. And that, like, at least 2 Steelers defenders, maybe 3, it, like, made them stutter step and just made them freeze real quick, but quick enough for Derrick Henry to be like, oh, I'm out of here, baby. I'm getting on out of here to the end zone, my friend. And that's Lamar Jackson's impact. Something that we've been saying for years, especially come playoff time. We saw it in the Texans game last year, so that was great. But in the Chiefs game, it wasn't there. And something that we've been talking about, Lamar, especially playoff time, play your game and just win. If it's through the air, if it's on the ground, do whatever it takes just to win. Because the stats, they may not be the prettiest. They may not be the sexiest numbers in the world. But one thing that nobody can ever take away from you is if you win in the playoffs. They can't never say, oh, well, those numbers were ugly. If you won the playoff game, you won the playoff game. They can say whatever they want, but if you won, that's it. And Lamar Jackson, these Baltimore Ravens, they won. And the numbers weren't too shabby either. So looking at Lamar Jackson's numbers, we'll start off with the rushing numbers. He ran 15 times for 81 yards. So that boy was running that ball tonight, and I love that. I know there were some people saying, oh, Lamar's running too much. I'm like, hey, Lamar was doing his thing. He was doing what needed to be done in order to win. And that's important, especially when the stakes are like this right now. Because every game's going to get harder. Every game's going to get that much more difficult. But why make it difficult on yourself by not using your full arsenal in your inventory? You are like that. You are the best player in the world. Continue to show them. Keep showing them. I saw somebody say, hey, we ain't lost a game since Lamar Jackson mom cussed him out. And we haven't. We really haven't. So shout out to her for doing her thing. Now, Lamar Jackson in the air. The numbers are looking pretty too. He went 16 for 21, only missed 5 passes, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, none. And he had a drop. He had a couple of drops, but yeah, and then he had one where he threw it short. But yeah, look, he did his thing, man. He really did. And I love that for him. It's nice to see regular season Lamar in the postseason. It's nice to see that, and we hope to continue to see that on a consistent basis through these next 3 games, because it's so essential for us to see that if the Baltimore Ravens are going to get the job done, which they will. Moving on to Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry was such a big part of this game, and I appreciated the fact that the Baltimore Ravens, for the majority of this game, they used him from start to finish. There was one drive where it was crazy because Derrick Henry even had his helmet on right before that drive started. He had his helmet on the sideline. Then they got to the drive, and Derrick Henry was not out there, not a single play on that drive. I said, oh, okay. And Ravens, they had to punt the ball. But throughout this game, minus that drive, they were really using Derrick Henry a lot. Like, he had 26 carries for 186 yards, averaged 7.2 yards per carry, and got 2 touchdowns. His longest run of the night was for 44 yards, of course. But and a stiff arm to Patrick Queen. It wasn't the meanest stiff arm. It was like a polite stiff arm, like, excuse me. But that's exactly why they brought you in. That's exactly why the Baltimore Ravens brought Derrick Henry in. They did not bring Derrick Henry in for the regular season. He has certainly helped during the regular season, and he almost got 2,000. This man got 1,900 rushing yards. That's crazy. You know how crazy that is? That's a lot in this day and age of football where people are like, oh, no, it's a passing league, which it is. But this man got 1,900 rushing yards. That is insane, man. But they didn't bring him in for the regular season. They brought him in for this, and I loved it because the Ravens used him for what they brought him in for. We've been talking about so many times that the Ravens, they had these running backs in the playoffs that they don't respect like that. We talked about when the Baltimore Ravens first signed Derrick Henry, they signed a true number one running back, somebody that they cannot forget about come playoff time. This is what everybody was talking about, and they did it. They did it in a major way, too. Derrick Henry is just, he one of them guys, man. Steven Sims, he even got in on a run game. Now, Steven Sims, we're going to talk about special teams later, but they were using him in motion with the Zay Flowers. He was doing Zay Flowers' job, moving him in motion, seeing what kind of defense the Steelers was in, so shout out to him. Justice Hill, he had 6 carries for 12 yards, but Justice Hill, he had that touchdown catch when the Ravens were up 14-0 on the Steelers, and the Steelers just punted the ball. The Ravens had to go, I believe it was 90 yards in the last 2 minutes, and they did it. And on that was a drive that featured that Isaiah Likely nasty stiff arm. It featured Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson. Throughout this game, he was doing this thing. And I love how the Baltimore Ravens, throughout the entire game, they just kept overcoming stuff. Ronnie Stanley had 2 false start penalties. They overcame those. When Lamar Jackson got sacked, he lost 10 yards. It was 2nd and 20. So we're thinking, oh, man, 2nd and 20. Let's see how it goes. On the 2nd and 20 play, they got a first down to Tylan Wallace. Lamar Jackson, he scrambled around a little bit, rolled out to his right, hit Tylan Wallace. Tylan Wallace got some yak, boom, first down. I said, oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. And even on a 2-minute drive, though, when they were up 14-0 and they were driving, there was Isaiah Likely called a big play, and he gave somebody a stiff arm. I forgot who it was, but I loved how Isaiah Likely and the Ravens offense, they hustled. They hustled to the line of scrimmage to hurry up and get there so they could spike the ball and stop the clock. Then the very next play, Lamar's looking, searching, nobody comes open, looking, searching, nobody comes open, looking, searching, boom, Justice Hill sitting there, he hits Justice Hill, and Justice Hill goes to the end zone touchdown. It's a beautiful thing to see. His previous touchdown before that, Rashad Bateman, he had a quiet night, but he made a big impact with the, I think he had 2 catches, let me see. Yeah, he had 2 catches for 24 yards. One of them, of course, being a touchdown in the back of the end zone. Now, Lamar didn't do the Steph Curry look away, but he did. Once he threw it, he said, oh, got it. And he certainly got it. Looking at our pass catches, Isaiah Likely had 3 catches for 53 yards. Mark Andrews, 2 for 27. Nelson Aguilar, 1 for 25. Rashad Bateman, 2 for 24. Tylan Wallace, 1 for 21. Justice Hill had 4 for 13. And Anthony Miller, who got called up from the practice squad, he had 3 for 12. Ravens said, hey, we ain't just calling you up for no reason. You're going to be part of this. So shout out to him. And it'll be nice that Ravens offense was really, they were rolling, not rolling all the way full steam ahead because the second half they only scored 7 points. But with Zay Flowers back, they should be even better. And it'll be really nice to have Zay Flowers back just to open up the offense that much more. That'll be fun to see. And we hope that he ends up just being 100%. I know he's going to be banged up. There ain't nobody really 100% right now. But hopefully we'll have that same Zay Flowers that we know and we love, and we know that is just a straight-up baller, man. So offense, in the first half, they put up 21 points. Second half, they only put up 7. It did get a little conservative, but it's a good thing that they scored all those points, especially when Steelers, they started scoring. But as a matter of fact, let's talk about this Ravens defense against that Steelers offense. Now, before we move on, Ravens, they live to see another week. So why don't you make sure you get your Heart of the City Ravens playoff hoodie. Get it ASAP. The link is down below in the description. When you go to Heart of the City's website, make sure you use code Ingraven25 to get 25%, 1/4 off the price. The price is already good, but to get 1/4 off an already great price, that's amazing. You can get it for 75% of the regular price. So make sure you hit up Heart of the City so you can get your Ravens playoff hoodie. Ravens defense, man, they started off this game really, really good. They were flying around to the football. They were making stops. They were really, really doing their thing. They were locked in. They shut out the Steelers in the first half of the game. They were up 21-0, and things were looking great. They weren't giving up any deep passes. They were tackling well. The pass rush was, it could be better, but they were holding it down. Then the second half, Ravens offense had got the ball first, and they came up just short. I know a lot of people were thinking, oh, they should go for it, but they didn't. And I was like, all right, cool. And then the Steelers were backed up in their own end zone. And I was hoping, we were all hoping that the Ravens would get a safety. And they came close, but Najee Harris barely got out. Then Russell Wilson said, no, I'm throwing this ball. So they threw the ball, and he threw it to, I believe, Calvin Austin, and that got them out of the back of their own end zone. And on that drive, Ravens just kept giving up play after play after play. And when you think about those 2 touchdowns, the deep passes, initially I was thinking Kyle Hamilton and Brandon Stevens, they gave up that first one to Van Jefferson. And it looked like initially Kyle Hamilton, he was playing Van Jefferson. Then he looked more to the inside of the field and he was playing something else. And Brandon Stevens, he sort of let Van Jefferson go right by him. But then he was trying to keep up with him, and then they gave up a touchdown. But I saw after the play, Kyle Hamilton was telling Brandon Stevens something. So it made it look like Brandon Stevens was in the wrong for that play. But either way, whoever it was on, it was bad. It was really, really bad. I'm like, oh, really, y'all giving up this? Come on now. And that gave the Steelers life. But then the Steelers got the ball back again. And again, the deep balls. The deep balls. Mike Williams, he caught a deep ball over on Tre'Davious White. Then there was, was that on Nate Wiggins? No, I think it was on Tre'Davious White. Oh, George Pickens, though. George Pickens, he caught the deep ball on Nate Wiggins. And then Ardarius Washington came flying in, but he missed the hit. And George Pickens just spun right into the end zone. I said, oh, my goodness. So the Steelers were getting life. But I love how the Baltimore Ravens, they answer back. That's where Derrick Henry got a big touchdown. But Ravens defense overall, they were pretty good. And what they did in the first half, that was good enough to allow the Ravens to jump out to a significant lead. So when the Steelers started trying to creep back, Ravens ended up scoring that touchdown that put them up to 28 points. And the defense, while they weren't necessarily coasting, but after they scored them, that Steelers scored them 2 touchdowns, the defense was like, hold on, let's tighten up. And they did exactly that, which we love it. Again, shout out to this defense. Shout out to Zach Orr. Because with Zach Orr, y'all already know the conversations that we were all having on Zach Orr. Hey, what's the problem? What's the issue? A lot of these guys are the same players. Did they just all of a sudden just fall off? No, it's got to be the scheming. It got to be the coaching. What's going on? And they, of course, made those changes on the defense, and boom, defense has been completely different since then. But the pass rush in this game, while Odafe Oweh, he did get a sack. Matt Beeks, he got a really nice sack too. But the pass rush in this game, in my opinion, could have definitely been better. Could have been better. I feel like Russell Wilson, he had a lot of time back there. But Ravens, they were making sure. I think they remembered from that last game when Russell Wilson, he got that big run on him. And they were like, nope, we ain't letting that happen again. Oh, no, we are not going to let that happen a second time. So Russell Wilson, we may not get sacks on you. We may not get too many sacks on you, but we sure ain't letting you run upfield on us. But the defense overall this game, they weren't great, but they were good. Those 2 touchdowns, those were big. And especially because it wasn't even like the Steelers had to really drive down the field like that. Russell Wilson just hit the deep ball. He hit the deep ball on those passes. So it made it easier for the Steelers. But so I can't say the defense was great this game, but I can say that they were good, and they were obviously good enough to get the job done. Special teams in this game. Justin Tucker, no field goals, just point after touchdowns. Jordan Stout, so shout out to Justin Tucker for making those. Jordan Stout in the punt game, there was one punt that ended up going to the end zone. There was another punt, though, where they got him down at the 1. And it's crazy because the punt where they got him down at the 1, the Steelers ended up getting a touchdown on that drive. But Steven Sims was a big part of this game. We know Steven Sims has been very, very aggressive ever since the Ravens signed him right before that Texans game. And that man does not call fair catch for nothing. But in this game, he called his very first fair catches as a Baltimore Raven. But he also had his first muffed punt as a Baltimore Raven. And he had it literally on the very first punt return of the game. He muffed it, but he did pick it up. He recovered it, thank goodness. And I was thinking, after that, no, that's going to be a wrap for him. They're going to put Deontay Hardy out there. But Ravens said, nope, we ain't putting Deontay Hardy out there. And I said, oh. And in fact, on the Ravens' next offensive drive, they had Steven Sims out there going in motion, doing the jet sweep. Or he did one jet sweep where he ran it for like 15 yards. But I was like, oh. And they had him doing that a lot throughout the game. So when they did that, I said, oh, okay, that's something that wasn't expected at all. If you would have asked me before the game, you think we're going to see Steven Sims on offense? I would have said no, not at all. And there ain't nothing against him, but just everybody in front of him. But Ravens said, no, we got something for this. And so Ravens, boy, y'all got it. Y'all got it, man. So shout out to special team because Harbaugh gave him another shot. He gave him another shot, gave him another chance, and it ended up working itself out. So I would still expect to see him continue to be the Baltimore Ravens punt return man. They had him on kick return as well. So Harbaugh I guess he didn't lose faith in him. Or maybe he was like, you know what, Deontay Hardy, he ain't played in months. So you know what, we're going to go with you because Deontay Hardy might be a little rusty. You don't want to throw him in there first game back. So maybe that was the case. But Steven Sims, he minus that muff punt, he did his thing overall. But special teams, yeah, they were special in this game. They ain't had to do anything crazy now. But they ended up doing that job, and there was no bad plays, minus the muff punt. At least he recovered, though. But there was really no conversation about them, so that's always a good thing. And then there's the coaching staff. So first starting off with John Harbaugh, the game was managed well. The time was managed well. The Ravens, they executed for the most part. There was a few hiccups here and there on offense and on defense as well. On offense, I would say the hiccups. Now, you remember that fourth down where they went for it? I want to say it was in the fourth quarter, but they were on their own 40. Not Steelers 40. They were on their own 40, and they went for it on 4th and 1, and they got it. I said, whoa, okay, those regular season Ravens right there, going for it on their own 40, on 4th down. I said, whoa, okay now. But it worked out. But with the Ravens offense, again, like we mentioned earlier, 21 points in the first half, great, but then only 7 in the second. So, okay. So that's something against a better team. You need to put up more points than that, in my opinion. Obviously, we want the defense to be playing even better. We want the defense to be giving up these big plays like they gave up to allow the Steelers to still have some life in the game. So that was on the defense. So coaching staff, the players, that's execution. So I'm not sure exactly what went wrong there. But, yeah, they got to get that right. But overall, again, good game from the Baltimore Ravens. Good game from them. Good game from Harbaugh. Monken overall, good game. A little conservative second half, but good game. And Zach Orr, those hiccups were there, but he had a good game overall. So Ravens just got to get better. In this game, there were some penalties. Ronnie Stanley, he had the 2 penalties. But besides that, I think Ravens played a pretty clean game overall. There weren't many penalties at all. I know George Pickens, he got the push off the offensive pass interference. Steelers had a defensive holding. But in this game, yeah, the refs weren't throwing flags like crazy, which I appreciate that. They did miss a face mask on Steven Sims on his muffed punt return on that one. But, yeah, the flags weren't going crazy. I just thought about that just now. So I like that because we've seen it plenty of times, even especially this year with the Baltimore Ravens in the regular season, where flags have just completely changed everything like that. But I like that, for the most part, the refs were letting them play. So with the Baltimore Ravens advancing, we get to do a little hate watching. I don't know who y'all going to be hoping the Baltimore Ravens play next. But I would love for the Baltimore Ravens to get another home playoff game. That would be a nice little surprise. So I'm going to be hoping that the Broncos win. I don't expect them to, but hey, it's playoffs, so you never know. I didn't expect the Texans to win. I really thought the Chargers were going to go in there and take care of business. Texans said, these guys, you think? Nah, we got it. So we'll see, because as y'all know, in the playoffs, anything could happen. But I appreciate y'all. I love y'all so much. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Turn them notifications on so you don't miss anything And make sure you also leave a like on the video. I love y'all so much. I appreciate y'all so much. And just like the Steelers, when it comes to them being in the playoffs, we out.